Welcome back, everyone, to yet another week of Just Jossin. I am part of your host, Sabrina Hannon.
And I'm the other part, Jasmine Heron. This week we are discussing Season 3, Episodes 19 and 20, which is Choices and the Prom.
Whenever I hear the phrase choices now, I think of RuPaul's Drag Race and just like drag queens looking at you and going, choices. But that's not what's going on here.
No, that's not what's going on here.
I only have one fun fact about this episode, and that's that the security guard is the 9th person on the Sunnydale High staff to be killed.
Really?
Yep. Soon, a lot more will die, but right now we're at 9.
See, I thought that Snyder wasn't bringing a security guard. I thought he was bringing, like, local PD. And
no, there's security. Apparently, Sunnydale High has security guards who do nothing. They do nothing. There's a werewolf in the building 3 nights a month.
Right? And they don't notice that?
They don't notice anything. They didn't notice when people were building bombs in the basement. Like, these people should be fired. But this episode kicks off with a scene with the mayor and Faith, and he is giving her a present, and he feels she's being ungrateful because it's not a free ride. He tells her she must go to it's the airport, but I mean, it's not really an airport. It looks like where she ends up going. It's like an airfield, perhaps abandoned. A place where shady dealings happen.
Yep.
Not where grandma comes in to visit you for the holidays.
Yep. So where I live is Louisville, and we have our regular airport, but then we're also a UPS hub. And so there's like a lot of like commercial flights that like come through the airport, but it's not, again, the same part of the airport as that. So I'm wondering if maybe this was like the commercial part of the airport.
Maybe. I feel like the mayor wouldn't necessarily want this being known, because I would assume a commercial part you'd have to declare, like, I mean, he could lie, obviously. And they weren't, this is pre 9/11, so they weren't as
strict on air travel?
Yeah. Although, if you really want a good laugh, just look at the TSA's Instagram page. Those people are funny. Like, they write some really good dad jokes in with when they find crap in people's suitcases, and they take pictures of it. They don't tell you whose it was, but they're internet shaming idiots, basically.
So something you see here is that Faith really likes the knife that the mayor got her. Like, this is a special knife in her opinion, and
it has a cool design. It's not a normal knife.
Yep, she has feelings for it.
Yes. For the serial killer in your life, get this knife.
All right, so next we get to Buffy and Angel, and they're fighting vampires in a cemetery, and there's a lot of like honeys and sweeties going on, which, do we usually hear them using those words with each other? No, it's like, oh honey, oh sweetie, like, and then Buffy says she feels they're in a rut. They never go anywhere new. Angel's like, well, what about that fire demon nest? And, like, that's all they're doing. And Buffy does make the comment, when I'm 50 and you're the same age you are now. And this is the first time we're kind of seeing it kind of register on Angel's face, like, oh, hey, this might actually become an issue.
Yeah, 100%. So, they get their sleigh on, they slay their demons, and then the next day, Joyce comes into the kitchen where Buffy is, and was like, you think you could hide this from me? And Buffy's thinking she's talking about the earrings she's wearing because she took her mother's earrings. And I mean, that is a very normal experience, I feel. But Joyce is talking about the fact that Buffy got into Northwestern, which is,
Mm-hmm.
a big deal. But Buffy at this point knows she can't go anywhere with Faith being rogue. Like
Yep.
all of that is gone, gone, gone.
Yep.
But Joyce is not accepting this.
Yeah, and so she starts to say, I can't, and then she stops and she can't make a decision. And Joyce then has to call family members in Illinois to let them know. Did you notice she doesn't even get let the other person get a word in? She's like, "How are you doing? Guess what?"
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, that very much so. Depending on like what kind of relationship those sisters have, that seems right. Um, but so this episode we also see something new with Snyder, and that he's all of a sudden very obsessed with children having drugs on them.
Uh-huh.
So he rips a kid's lunch out of his hands, thinking there's drugs in there. He's like, "Dude, that's my lunch," and he's like, "Yeah, well, it is." Hmm. Very Snyder has never been on this drug kick before. I
I
don't
know.
like I don't know why he is. It's never explained to us.
But Snyder often ends up on these weird kicks for no reason.
He
He's
probably watched a special on TV.
he's like, oh, this is the week we're having student volunteers for taking kids out for Halloween. Oh, this is the week that we have student volunteers for selling band candy.
Mhm. Yeah, I bet he like for some of this stuff it is he catches like an after school special type of deal or he reads an article. Uh, um so while Snyder is, sad that he's not yelling at a student for having drugs on them because I'm sure he also gets a high off of that. See what I
Mm-hmm.
did there? Um,
I
Buffy,
see. I see.
Buffy, Willow, and Oz are talking about, how Buffy can't leave. And Willow has been accepted to all of the schools in the United States and most in Europe, it seems.
Yep.
Like if there's a school, they want Willow there, and no one is surprised.
Yep.
Um, and I really like when they're talking about Oxford and about how she can go there where they make Giles's.
Yep. That's where they make Giles's.
Mm-hmm.
And Cordelia comes in with again a round of snark, and just comes in to be a little mean and then go off on her way again. But she does say, I mean, she makes some very barbed comments, including, "This is a conversation for people who have a future, unlike you, Buffy."
Mm-hmm.
And that, Buffy, that barb hurts because that's exactly what she's worried about. That's exactly what she's upset about, is that she thought that she had a glimmer of a chance at going away.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, no, you know, these futures or possibilities that you thought you had, you don't. Although she did mention that UC Sunnydale did accept her, so she could still go to college, just locally. And
And it's still a branch of the University of California. I'm assuming that's what UC
yeah,
stands
yeah,
for.
supposed to be University of California.
Yeah. And what is striking about when Cordelia goes after Buffy with this comment, Buffy really wasn't like, she wasn't directing anything like completely mean at Cordelia. She was saying to both Xander and Cordelia, like, take a breath in between insults. And Cordelia just turns all of her venom at Buffy because attacking Willow wasn't getting her anywhere.
Yep.
And we've seen her do this before, like that one time when she was attacking Xander, but it wasn't working because Xander already like was comfortable with himself
Mm.
versus when he wasn't. So she like senses this weak spot for Buffy and she attacks, and that's why she's an asshole.
Well, and we're going to see a little bit more about what's going on with Cordelia in a little bit. And I want to talk a little bit about how inner hatred or like inner hatred can come out as outward venom. But we'll reach that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
what she did to Xander. was prior to her dad having any financial woes.
Which
Like
part?
the when she would go up and, well, yeah, right, their whole relationship, their when she just kept attacking him. Now that I also feel is justified because of what happened there. But we would see her attack Buffy and others who had nothing to do with Xander cheating on her.
But I feel like this part here, this conversation,
Mhm.
is a lot of her own.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
this is
I'm
her own. Yeah.
I'm just saying this is also who she is. Like she doesn't necessarily need something to be um a major life event like that for her to take swings at anyone around her.
hmm But again, like this is also, I feel like, a Larry situation where Larry had a secret that was eating him up and it was seeping out toxically.
Mhm.
And now she's got the secret that's eating her up and it's seeping out toxically. And she is lashing out a lot more actively than she used to.
I mean, she was always lashing out. That's who Cordelia is. She was anytime she's hurt, she lashes out. That's why her and Xander in that remark were perfect for each other. Except she's much better at it because what she does is when she crafts her insults, she already knows what someone's insecure about, and that's what she attacks. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's where she goes. So she's much better at it than Xander.
Which I think is from years of being Queen Bee.
Oh yeah, 100%. And but we find out more about Cordelia later on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Buffy goes to Giles and Wesley and she says that she wants to leave Sunnydale. And, Wesley does this thing where he says, by the power
yeah,
of the council, I forbid it. And it's like a cross or an X over his heart, like, cross my heart and hope to die.
I saw that and I was like, this is a really weird, like Wakanda Forever thing. Like, what is this?
Like, I am pledging an oath, Watchers Council,
Yeah, like it was. As soon as he started talking about that, I was like, oh, please tell me she's going to the weird finger thing.
weird finger thing.
So bizarre. And we never see that again, I'm pretty sure. Like, we've never seen it before, and I don't think we ever see it again.
Yep.
Well, I mean, after this season, we don't have any actual watchers. But
Not until season 6.
yeah. And they're not wandering around going,
Yep. Or so
but
I'm sorry, season 5, not season 6, season 5 is next time we see why, because it's the Glory situation.
oh yeah, Glory.
Yep. But anyways, going back.
Yeah.
Um
He forbids her from leaving. And Buffy says she's going to change her circumstance, which is
yep.
how musicals begin.
Yes. And she says that she is going to figure out what is going on with the mayor and the Ascension. She doesn't have a plan in terms of like maps and stuff, but she has a plucky attitude and she's gonna find out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she does by staking out City Hall. Like, hey, good job that you know where the mayor is.
Yeah, because they don't know where Faith's new apartment is. So that's really all they have to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And before Buffy, Buffy was probably hiding in the bushes at this point, but the courier does come in, gets off his little plane, and there is a vampire with a limousine waiting for him. And the mayor was supposed to be there. He's not there. And he's like, the price just went up, and Faith kills him. He was a human, not a vampire, and he is shot through the heart. So this is her second human that she has murdered. Granted, probably not a good guy. Probably not. And then like the vampire is even a little shocked at this, like, you killed him? And she's like, yep. And then she pulls out her knife because they can't find the keys to the handcuffs that he has, this thing attached to him. And she saws off his hands.
Yep. Well, just one.
Yuck.
Slicey, slicey.
Yeah.
She's got to try out that new knife. But again, we are seeing at this point, Faith is no longer just becoming comfortable with killing. She is now actively seeking out opportunities to kill.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just, so when they talk about serial killers, one of the things that, like, once they get really gruesome with their kills, which would include mutilating the body afterwards, like cutting off a hand joyfully, um, you're in the, like, if this is a real person, you're in the land of no return. I mean, once you hit serial killer in general, which she's not at yet technically because it's only 2. Um, she's had multiple kills, but not serial killer yet. But yeah, it just, whew, real gross. Also, like, I feel like with the design of that knife, it actually wouldn't be the greatest for cutting off a hand.
Mm-hmm. Because there was no serration.
No, there's no serration. And like, I feel like the cool little design in it would actually make the knife weaker than if it was solid steel.
Although,
But I know nothing.
as I have learned from having to take apart turkeys and chicken bones, in between the joints is actually really easy to sever the tendons. So maybe she just went to the wrist and she was like, click, click, or she just had to go through the meat and then, the weak parts of the joint.
Maybe. In which case, she lied to that vampire. She's not sawing through bone.
No, it's true. She's not sawing through bone. She's cutting through tendons.
So she now has her lovely box of what we don't know what it is, but it's big and old looking.
Mm-hmm.
And she hauls it into the mayor's office as the limo driving vamp drives away.
Yep.
And we find out that Buffy follows him, which is
Mm-hmm.
smart, and gets
Yep.
the info from him about what was in the box. While Faith delivers it, and the mayor is quite happy that she killed the courier. I
Yep.
wonder if she actually got to keep the money then that the courier was supposed to get. That seems fair.
Maybe, but
Like a bonus. Or maybe half of it.
so there have been times, like with Mr. Trick, where Mr. Trick killed a demon that the mayor was supposed to give tribute to,
And he was
or
not happy.
and he was not happy. He says, "Don't do me any favors." But when Faith does it, he's like, "That's my girl." I
Yep.
think he really truly enjoys seeing Faith blossom into the dark side.
He says he really likes her initiative. I mean, the difference also between the two of them, Faith was taking it upon herself, and that was clearly her plan to kill this guy. Whereas with Mr. Trick, it was a byproduct of what happened. Like, things went south, he spun it in a nice way. However, I still think if Faith had done that, he would have come down more favorably on her
Mm-hmm.
than, and given her a cookie,
Yep.
a literal cookie.
So when Buffy returns to the library, she tells them that it's the box of Gavrock. And they're like, okay, well, let's take this box. And so they have maps and stuff. And Wesley, now, okay, although I agree, they're moving very fast. And Wesley says, stop, take a beat. And they're kind of like, no, we're not going to take a beat. Let's go, go, go. And I can understand that. But also, I don't think Wesley's wrong to say, like, hang on a second. Let's make sure we have our ducks in a row before we go running off. And
Yeah, I agree. I think had it been anyone else voicing that opinion, because Wesley has screwed up so much that they have completely discounted him.
Yep.
Like, they don't want his help, they don't need his help. But I agree that tying him like that, they need to take some more consideration and not 5 minutes of this is what we can do.
Yep. And so, like, again, like, I am that personality where I want to know, okay, who's doing what is the plan, and don't just jump off of each other, but like, let's take a moment and say, you're getting this, you're getting this, you're getting this, you're doing this, and which they were kind of feeding off of each other, and they're a very good unit. They know each other, and so they can work as a team. And Wesley is the outsider, but I do think it would have been nice for them to like lay out for a moment, you know, what they were going to do. So Xander is the, you know, ingredient getting guy. That's his job. And he sees Cordelia at the April Fool's clothing shop, which is right next to the magic shop. And she's looking at a dress, and he stops by and he tries to say, "You didn't get into any colleges, did you? That's why you were so upset about Willow." And she shows him a whole bunch of acceptance letters of where she got into. And what, you know, and then she says, "Go away," sort of thing. And because Xander has a job to do, he goes away. And,
and then we see, you know, it's go time. They pull up in this black van, which, okay, most suspicious thing. Choose something else.
where did you get a van?
And where'd they get it? I mean, I guess you can rent one, but
Yep.
I mean, Wesley probably has like a standing reservation or something. Like I'm sure that maybe the council has done that since they do
I mean, the council
nothing
did
else.
had a black van for when they kidnapped Faith, so
Yeah, yeah. There's probably at their local like car rental place a standing order for one black van. So Angel, Buffy, and Willow pop out and head to the roof. And because what they're going to do is Willow's going to do the magics, and then they lower Buffy down to get the box, which which they found out was in the conference room, which has recently been redone. And unfortunately, once Buffy's down there, the rig to like pull her back up gets jammed. And Angel, instead of just, you know, pulling her up with his hands, like on the rope, just lets her dangle there as
yeah.
vampires come in. I have a big problem with that scene because Angel as a demon, Buffy is what, 110 pounds soaking wet.
Just grab the rope instead of the pulley. Just grab the rope and yank it up.
Because he's done that before, like he's done stuff like that before. So, but that wouldn't give us this lovely fight scene where Angel jumps in and they're all fighting, destroying this conference room, and then Angel and Buffy run away with the box.
Now, while all this is happening, we've got Oz and Xander together doing the magics to make the breath of the Atropics, which is the thing they're going to use to destroy the box.
With their foolproof directions.
With their foolproof directions, including little stick figures with a guitar of Oz and Xander and the pedestal.
Which I'd really like to know what that guitar looked like with the stick figures. If Xander didn't know that that was a guitar, did he think one of them had a really big penis?
Who knows? But I do think like here's an interesting moment where we are seeing Oz and Xander together, and you know, Oz makes a comment. He goes, "There's no one like my Will." And Xander's like, "Yes, you were right." Like, but this is no longer a competitive or awkward moment. This is two of them recognizing in different aspects how incredible Willow is.
That Willow is a force of nature.
Yep.
And later she'll control all the forces of nature.
Yep.
So yes, the mayor comes in and he's, you know, just saying like, "Dang it, guys, I just had all of this redone on the taxpayers' dime at that." And oh yeah, then he freaks out and he's like, "They took my box! They took my box!"
Yep.
And Faith comes in at that point with Willow with the knife at her neck. And we're all like, no.
Yep. And I mean, this is a big deal because like Faith has come in with the solution to the mayor's problem, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's immediate, it's relief. It's his girl. His girl has, like, you know, is going to fix his problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
And
And sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to skip ahead to the library. Do you have more on the scene?
Nope,
Oh.
that was it.
So here we see then Buffy's just like, well, clearly we're trading this damn box. And Wesley now is like, nope, I refuse. This is stupid. Too bad. Willow has to die. Like, he doesn't say it like that, but everyone in the room takes it that way. And Oz is sitting there, and they keep, like, you catch him, like, sometimes they pan to him as everyone's fighting, telling Wesley to F off. And then Oz gets up, walks over to the fancy ritualistic, and just smashes it. Doesn't say anything, and at that point, the decision has been made because they can no longer destroy the box.
Yes, like he's just said, nope, we're not going to destroy the box. It's which is it. Yeah, it's very quiet and a very decisive choice.
Well, the breaking it isn't quiet.
Yeah, well, no, like his internal, he's
and
just
because when he turns back around, his face also isn't quiet. His face is like, I will kill you too if you try to get in my way of saving the Willow.
Now, and again, Wesley sucks. It's awful, but he has a point. Like, millions of people could die if they don't destroy this box versus one person. He has a point. It sucks. And oftentimes we see the good guys in this situation where they let the bad guys get the other hand because they don't want one person to suffer. And I mean, and this is multiple situations. Wasn't it the Avengers, which is also Joss Whedon, where they've got the situation of Vision saying, I need to die in order to save half of the population of the universe? And they're like, no, we can't let you die. You can't sacrifice yourself to die, even though lots of people end up dying anyways, and he dies. It's, the idea of we don't sacrifice the one to save the many is this good guy idea that Joss Whedon shows up with a lot.
Well, it's a very common philosophy thing too, like the train on the tracks, you have one person versus the three or however many it is.
No problem.
Now, the thing with Willow, though, is she's also one of their not secret weapons, but she's one of their weapons because she can do the tech stuff. She can do witchcraft. They might not be able to stop the mayor without her. So you have to also add that in, which Wesley completely discounts. Also, if Buffy and them are all upset about what has happened to Willow, that's not going to make them work more efficiently.
But, they were saying you can't do the ascension of the box. So Wesley saying, like, if we destroy the box right now, we stop the ascension. Don't stop the mayor, but we stop the ascension.
But there would he would do something else. Evil doesn't just stop when, like, one thing gets in their way.
I know. Like, I'm just saying that Wesley does have a point. And it's a greater philosophical point. And I think that any of us in that situation would still be like, no, go save Willow. But, not being emotionally invested would probably say, maybe don't give the crazed person what they need just because they have a hostage. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah. Or figure out a way to destroy what's ever in the box and hand them an empty box. That might have been the route I would try to have gone. But
here is a fake box. We made it in props class.
Right? Right. Xander, you can whittle, right? You've been whittling steaks for Buffy for years now. Make this box.
But Willow is trying to escape from the room she's locked in. She's looking around for something, and a vampire comes in, and she stakes him with a floating pencil.
Which we were talking about.
Yeah. Like, good job. Why do we not have Willow floating more wooden objects at vampires on a regular basis?
Right? Like, she could just, like, walk through well, maybe not walk through Sunnydale, someone would probably lose an eye, but, like, just hang out in the graveyard with, like, a bunch of floating pencils.
Or Mr. Pointies, like lots of little pointies.
Yeah. Many a rip a tree limbs off and just many things she could do, but that doesn't happen. So she tries to, make her escape, but the mayor and Faith are coming out of another door, much like when Faith and Buffy were trying to leave and the mayor and Trick came out.
Yep.
Only we all know that, Faith is on the bad side now. And so she goes and hides in the mayor's office as the mayor's saying that Buffy is like a dog.
Loyal.
Yes. And he's going to put her down like a dog. Willow finds the mayor's shrine. Under the shrine, she finds the books of Ascension and begins to read through them. And Faith kind of has a point here when she does come in that, like, might not be the best idea, and escape probably would have been better had Willow not done what she did.
So the first time I watched this for this conversation, I was like, when did Willow have a chance to steal the pages? And then I saw they actually do a fade in, fade out. So to show that time has actually passed. So what she's doing is she's going through the volumes and she's actually ripping out the pages that look like they're important and hiding them on herself.
Yes.
Because she knows that Buffy's loyal like a dog and gonna come save her.
Yeah. I caught that the first time that I ever watched, like, because also you see her going through different books. And Willow is not Xander. She's not looking for pictures.
Yeah.
But what I had confused when in my memory prior to rewatching this, I thought she cut out a chunk of it, and I was like, that might not have been the smartest thing. They might notice the chunk, and then I was like, oh wait, like when it gets to the end, it's like just certain pages. That's right.
Yep.
Because also cutting out the end would be good. Like, aha, you don't know the final step to your recipe. Losers! But, this exchange between Willow and Faith, I really love. Because Willow's like, I have something to say to you. And Faith is like, yeah, it's not too late. And Willow's like, oh no, it's been way too late. Like, it's past midnight, sweetheart. You're the one who screwed up. You could have had a life. You could have had friends. And now you have no one and you're a loser. And Faith punches Willow in the face, which Willow should have seen coming. She's lucky that's all she did.
And Faith did not use Slayer strength on her.
No.
Like, punched her, but did not Buffy punch her. Like,
I also wonder if Faith is as strong as, well, clearly Faith is not as strong as Buffy. We've seen that demonstrated numerous times. I kind of have an issue with the fact, because if I were to punch you in the face, Jasmine, you would get a bruise. Same thing if you were to punch me in the face. And neither one of us, as far as I'm aware, has Slayer strength, correct? Especially if it was hard enough to, like, send me.
That's the thing. I really feel like Faith held back on purpose.
Perhaps, yeah. Although she's about to stab her a little bit later, but the mayor walks in and is like, no, we need her. No killing of the hostage.
He got the most interesting phone call.
And he is straight up giddy. Like, he's having the most fun at that exchange.
They should be wearing trench coats.
I'm just like, dang it, I kind of love you, Mayor, but also, you're a naughty one, Mr. Grinch.
Childlike whimsy at times.
Yeah, like he's really enjoying life. Even after, all this time that he's lived, he's still really enjoying life, just not the germs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the meeting is going to take place in the cafeteria. They've made sure that there's only one way in. And then it's all the Scoobies, including Angel, no Cordelia, because she's not quite part of the Scoobies right now. It's a thing, but sometimes she is. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows? Um, so the mayor, they cut the lights, and then the mayor, Faith, dragging Willow with a knife to her neck, and some vamp backup come to into the cafeteria. And the mayor starts saying, like, talking to Angel, being like, "Oh, she's pretty, and jealous, a little skinny." And the thing that Angel says that I really like is, "Well, I like my women sane."
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, don't anger the crazy person holding a knife to your friend's neck.
Which is what Oz says.
Yeah.
Oz kind of warned. He goes, Angel, like
Hmm.
the crazy person that you were insulting is holding a knife to my girlfriend's neck.
Hmm. She is unstable. Don't make her stab the Willow.
So they do the exchange. Um,
Well, with the fatherly advice
with
first.
the fatherly advice, where Mayor Wilkins talks about the fact that he married his wife Edna in '03, which is
19.
1903. And because we haven't reached the 2000s yet. And that by the time she died, she had dementia and she was withered and angry at his retained youth, his immortality. Um, and it was not an easy time for them. And it's true. Like this is a very real point that he is making,
Hmm.
is that one person is immortal and the other is not. And regardless of, the fact that slayers don't have a long timeline to begin with, there is the fact that he will keep going on,
Hmm.
and she will not. um,
To be fair, unless the Slayer's partner is killed trying to get to her, most likely, her partner will keep going on long after.
mm-hmm.
I think like, if it was a speech to Willow, it would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at with Buffy and Angel, or Buffy and any vampire, just laying that out there. She doesn't have a long timeline, and it benefits her to have a partner who has super strength, because she doesn't have to worry about protecting them all the time, which gets her killed.
Mm-hmm.
But the mayor has a lot of points,
Yep.
and they're not bad points, as Angel points out next episode. But so then they make the exchange, because he sounds so, like, sickened by it all. He
Make the exchange,
Because he tells Angel how selfish he is, and meanders away. And they go to make the exchange, and in comes Snyder looking for drugs.
Yep. And the mayor tries to like intervene and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, let's just smooth things out." But of course, the security guard
Mhm.
opens up the box. The mayor tries to stop him, says, "I wouldn't do that." And out pops a Gavrock demon, maybe?
Which is like a spider mixed, like a big spider mixed with, like, one of those pinchy insects. I don't know what they are. I'm just picturing it in my head, and unfortunately, I cannot describe it more than a pinchy insect. My mom always called them pinchers, which is definitely not an insect's name.
An earwig?
I don't know. It was black. I think earwigs are gray, right? Or white?
No.
I don't. I
Are,
don't
are you
know.
are you googling earwig?
No.
Google, do a quick Google search of earwig and see if that's what you're thinking of.
Um, to me, it's a mixture of these two bugs, but a much larger thing. It's not an earwig.
Okay.
But anyway, so
Spider and something with big mandibles.
yes.
Um,
And it basically eats the face kind of off of it drains the life force from the security guard via its face, and then scampers off and lands on the mayor. Faith rips it off the mayor's face. The mayor's fine because he's invincible. um and then it tries going after Buffy, but she crushes it
Yep.
with her tiny frame, and Angel like shoos it away with his foot, like, yick.
Mm-hmm.
But that leaves one more, because one more got out of the box before they closed it.
Yep. And Snyder is defending himself with a chair. Mm-hmm. And Faith throws her knife at the second one, but that was behind Wesley, and she skewers it, and it dies.
While Wesley screams.
Yes, yes. And so at this point, the mayor is like, okay, we're going to go. If you guys are like, I'm impervious, I can open up this box again, but I've got my box. Let me go. Let's just call it a night. And they're like, okay. And he calls for Faith. Now, earlier in this episode, he told Faith he does not like repeating himself. Mm-hmm. And he says, Faith, come on. And Faith is looking at the knife. She wants to go get the knife. And he says again, Faith. And he uses his stern father, don't make me repeat myself voice. Mm-hmm. And she follows obediently, but she's left her knife behind.
Yep.
And so Buffy asks Snyder if he's alive in there. And he's like, why couldn't you just be doing drugs like a normal student? And then like walks out holding the chair still. Like he's got his chair shield and he walks out of the room holding his chair.
And is it just me, or like the way he's holding it, it almost looks like he's wearing the chair? He's not, but how he has it, it kind of reminds me of the poor people in a barrel thing, like those, like it just looks like that to me as he walks away with it.
Yeah.
Snyder is really just comic relief in this episode with his drugs. So they're in the Scoobies are all talking in the library. Willow is rehashing what happened, more detail than Giles particularly wants. And Willow says like, oh yeah, I found the books of Ascension. Couldn't really, get too much information out of them because I was, not a lot of time. But here are these pages that I ripped out. And Giles like might as well just start like dancing around, doing a little British happy dance.
And she is so smug when she does it. She's like, see what you can make of them? Mm-hmm. Like, here you go. And Wesley still is like, this better have been worth it because we lost the box. And Buffy's like, yeah, it was worth it. Got a Willow. Got a Willow.
And then the next day, Buffy and Willow are outside. And Willow comes over because Buffy is just like, yep, I just need to learn that I'm not going away. Like, I'm a Sunnydale girl. I'm going to go to UC Sunnydale. This is my life. And Willow tells her in a very sweet way that she too will be going to UC Sunnydale. And Buffy's immediate reaction is she's overjoyed. She tackle hugs Willow. Then she's like, no, you absolutely cannot do this. You can't throw away these opportunities for me. And Willow's like, I love you, but that's not why I'm doing this. I want to help people. And that is a beautiful moment of friendship right there. Because a good friend is going to have that exact reaction that Buffy has. Yay! Oh wait, no, you can't do this.
Yep.
But Willow has other reasons other than just wanting to hang out with Buffy. She wants to remain on the show for several more years.
Well, yes, but I mean, her saying like, this is a fight, like this is a real fight, and I want in. Like, I want to fight this fight. That's important,
And she also wants to become a badass Wicca.
Yes, and she wants to become a badass Wicca. But, for the majority of the people in Sunnydale, they know there's something more going on and they choose to ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
And Willow says, I see this problem and I will not ignore it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going in. I'm fighting the fight, the monsters of the big bad world.
She's having the moment that Buffy had when her powers were slipping away of, I know what goes bump in the night now. Like, I can't walk away.
Yep.
And it's the same thing for Willow. And, Giles, obviously, and Xander, and Cordelia.
Yep. Once she gets to Angel.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Wesley once he gets to Angel. Because I feel like this Wesley would most certainly walk away and go like read some books if that was his option.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been through some stuff at this point, but he hasn't been through the hellmouth yet. He's had the hellmouth fight.
We get this kind of comment from Buffy. She says it's strange you can look at something and think you see it, and it turns out to be something completely different. And we see Cordelia back looking at the same dress that she was before, and we realize that she's not actually shopping at that store, she's working at that store.
Yep. And apparently doesn't have a great work ethic because her manager is not a fan.
Yep. And so that night, Buffy and Angel are talking about the mayor, and they're like, oh, he's evil. Well, he was just trying to get under her skin. He's evil. Evil, evil, evil. Let's ignore him. But you can see both of them. He has gotten under their skin because, as we mentioned previously, the most hurtful barbs are the ones that are true.
Yep. And that is how choices end.
Mm-hmm.
And now we go on to the prom.
The prom.
Mm-hmm. This one opens up and Buffy is at Angel's. They took a nap after some slayage. No, sexy time, but Buffy's hair is messed up. She said that there's a cat on her head, but there's no mirrors for her to fix her hair. Also, how lucky is she? She goes like this and her hair is fine. I have curly hair. If my hair gets crazy, it stays that way and makes a nest for animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the stick straight hair, so my hair gets all tangled, and then you just kind of go, eh.
Cursed beast. I say that in a loving way.
I try to style my hair, I go like, eh, and it's no longer styled. So
I see that there are some trade-offs.
Yep.
But yeah, Buffy is bringing up like normal relationship stuff. Like, when she goes to college, she wants to live at the dorms and, she should get a drawer at Angel's place and put up some mirrors and normal. Well, maybe not the putting up mirrors. Ideally, if you're dating someone, they have a mirror somewhere in their home. Especially if they live in a mansion.
Yeah.
And then Buffy goes to mentions the prom, and Angel's like, "Hey, prom."
And she's like a cotillion, but
yeah,
she old timey mentions it for him.
And Buffy opens the curtains thinking it's still night, but it's not, and she almost fillets her boyfriend.
Flambés, not fillets.
Whatever it is.
So she makes a statement here. She says, I guess it's later than we thought.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a very yes, it's later in the day than they thought, but also it's later in their relationship, it's later in the year, it's later in terms of time. Like, it is later. They thought they had more time. They do not.
Yes. And then when we go ahead.
No, I was gonna say then we go to school with Anya.
Yep.
Anya?
Yep. Anya is back. And Anya is making the most bizarre request for Xander to be her prom date because he is the less annoying of all of the alpha males walking around. And she's saying like all these pretty awful things to Xander, but he still says yes to going with her because he doesn't want to spend the night with his right hand.
Yeah. And so like he says, one of us is really confused here, and I'm not sure which.
Yeah, because she says men are evil. Will you go to the prom with me?
Yep.
And he's like, yes, but I'm confused. And so are you. They're both confused.
Yep.
I love Anya and Xander together. Like, I really appreciate that relationship. They make each other better.
They do. They do. And I really appreciate their character arc, their relationship arc, the growth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, they so they start talking prom
Yeah.
stuff. Joyce comes to visit Angel at his house or at his mansion. And as a mother of an 18-year-old girl, going to visit your daughter's boyfriend's mansion, and she's like, Buffy spent the night last night, and he's like, nothing happened, and she's like, okay, but let's talk about for a second, there are going to be some hard choices coming up. She is a teenage girl in love. You're older. Like, that you know that, teenage love is not very clear-headed. And she says that he can't get in the way of her future, and that Buffy can't see that and can't make that decision. He's going to have to do it for her. And that's a very grown-up to grown-up conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit patronizing of Buffy, but she is an 18-year-old girl, and an 18-year-old girl in love. Like, yeah. So I don't really necessarily think it was Joyce's place to have that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but I also can understand why she did. I feel like maybe she should talk to Giles instead of Angel.
Yeah, I can understand why she had it. But I keep coming back to the fact that like also Joyce, while she does recognize that Buffy is the Slayer, she continually refuses to understand what that means. And I understand why. As a parent, you want your life to have a nice long life. And Buffy has been handed a card that says, nope, don't know when your time's running out again, but it's going to be short.
Yep.
Um, you're probably not having kids. You're going to be the first Slayer ever, by the way, who goes to college. And like your life is right here. You can't leave. You can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what kind of career you're going to have because it has to allow for you to have slayage. Again, she really should have gone into law enforcement instead of the Burger Hut or whatever the hell that thing is called. But anyway, Joyce, I think, would have been much better served having that conversation with Giles, like you suggested. Although we both know after Band Candy, she's not going anywhere near Giles,
Mm-hmm.
and she's definitely not having that conversation with Wesley. Also, Wesley would be like, "Well, obviously, the Slayer shouldn't date anyone."
Yep.
I am British.
Let me do my finger thing.
I forbid it.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, Angel also is already on. He clearly is already going to have this conversation with Buffy. I have a big problem with when he does have it. I
in a
think it's
sewer?
yeah,
Right
and
before
well,
prom?
right before prom, like you don't. They say like they don't know if they're living past graduation day. Why not have that conversation after graduation day, after they survive?
Yep.
Because if you're going to die in 2 weeks,
Yep.
why not be happy those 2 weeks instead of make her suffer? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it makes no sense. Angel, you're old. You should know better.
Well, but Buffy does know that something is up because Angel can't act. Angel's got no, like, he says that he's the best actor previous episode or during Enemies. He is not. He can't act. He's got no acting skills when it comes to.
I mean, he was very good in Enemies. He really was. Because he was, I mean, he was kissing Faith in front of Buffy. He has acting skills. Like, pull
No,
that
but
out of your ass, dude. Or
yeah.
avoid her. Do the nice thing and avoid her for a little bit. Be like, I'm looking for a graduation present. Away.
So basically, we go back to the library. Buffy and Willow are talking about what sounds like a demon, but it turns out it's a prom dress.
Well, to me, especially when Willow says like the frilly, like it sounds like a dress. I think to most girls or women who have shopped for frilly dresses.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't though and is watching Buffy or hunts demons for fun, or not fun, but for their job, I guess, for Giles. Although now
Well,
it would be for fun.
you said it has frills on its arms instead of on its sleeves. Like there were specific words not used to make you think dress.
Although I have to wonder, are there demons that have frills?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to see the frilly demons. We never see the frilly demons. I want to see one that looks like a loofah. And it's just like, I don't know, sudsing up everywhere.
We might have to look into that for some of the Angel episodes once we get to Lauren's bar.
Oh yeah, the loofah demon would definitely hang out at Lauren's. Oh, I was so sad when that actor died. Moving on. So, Angel has a dream that him and Buffy are getting married in a. Am I skipping something?
You're skipping ahead a little bit.
Okay.
We know from the Books of Ascension, from the pages that Willow got, that Wilkins is going to transform into a demon, but they don't know what kind of demon he's going to turn into. And since there's nothing new, they go back to talking about prom. Mm-hmm. And Wesley says that he's going to chaperone, much to the surprise of Giles. Because Giles is like, what? Okay, yes, never mind. Like, sure. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, Wesley would look very 007, according to Cordelia. Mm-hmm. And so, Buffy says this is going to be one last night of fun. And, they're going to make the most of it. And, of course, while they're doing that, we see someone playing a prom video for Hellbeast that is, like, freaking out. Then we go to Angel Dreamscape and action.
So it's Buffy and Angel's wedding. No one is in attendance, but they're being married in a Catholic church. After the ceremony, it's daylight, and they go walking down the very long aisle. And when they get outside, Angel does not burst into flames, but Buffy does. Mm-hmm. And she's very upset. Like, she says, like, Angel, as she goes, and he's obviously very upset, and he wakes up. Mm-hmm. And then Buffy and Angel are getting the slaying on, and they follow a demon into the sewers. Mm-hmm. Sarah Michelle Gellar's outfit is awesome here. I love that top. Just want to point that out. It's like this purple number with some sparkles on the bottom. All the things I love, purple and sparkles. And as they're searching for this demon, again, Buffy mentions prom, and Angel again is like, meh, you still want to do that? Being a shithead. Of course she still wants to do this. This is a normal thing for her to want to do. And aren't you always harping on how she should want to do normal high school girl things? So Buffy realizes something is up, slays the vampire that they came down there for, and Angel says the stupidest thing in that, we need to talk, but here is not the time or the place. And she's like, no, you don't get to say we need to talk and then be like, but later.
Yeah.
Like, no. In general, don't do that to people. It's crap.
In general, don't ever say we need to talk until you are ready to talk. If it's something that is concerning about, if you're like, we need to talk about our plans for Thanksgiving. Let's pull out our calendars later.
Yeah.
But so many times I've had people say, we need to talk, and you immediately go into panic mode. You're like, oh God, we need to talk. We need to talk. We need to like.
Yeah, like finish that sentence. We need to talk about insert thing. Like, don't leave someone hanging.
You should never say we need to talk and then not give the heads up. And if you're not ready to give the heads up about what you need to talk about, then don't say we need to talk.
Yeah. You're just being mean at that point. So Buffy's like, hell no, whatever this is, clearly we're talking about this now because we're not playing that game. He is 240 years old, and that is very much so a game card he just played of, we need to talk, but not right now. And she's being the more adult one, being like, no, with that. So they have their breakup talk in a sewer, which is so fitting. So he says, you know, all the things about how she can't have a normal life with him. They can't have kids. And she's like, kids, I killed my goldfish. And he's like, yeah, but you'll want all these things eventually. And she also is making very good points about, like, they don't know if she's going to have an eventually. They both have valid points.
Yeah. But they shouldn't be having these valid points in a sewer.
No, they should not.
And he just says that he is, you know, he says, like, she says, I want to have a future with you. And he says, I don't. But what he's saying is he doesn't want her to have a future with him, not that he doesn't want to have a future with her.
Yeah. But that's not what's coming across to her. That's not what she's hearing.
Yep.
Because how can you hear that?
He says that if they survive the ascension, he's going to leave town.
And right there, again, if we survive this, then shut your stupid mouth until after.
Like, if the ascension is in 2 weeks, maybe break up over the summer. Lots of couples break up over the summer before going off to college. That would have been the perfect time.
You know, not the day before the prom, you prick. Like, it's a big deal. Like, even if he doesn't understand, like, what prom means, the fact that she is so excited and has mentioned it so many times should be enough to tell him that this is really important to her and to shut his stupid vampire mouth.
Yep. And when Buffy is talking to Willow about it, and they talk about how, like, they understand it was probably the right decision, but it's painful. And, you know, and then Willow just kind of holds Buffy as Buffy is crying in her lap, saying that she can't breathe. She feels like she can't breathe. And do you remember your first real heartbreak? Like,
oh yeah, that is 100%. I wrote down, like, this is every teenage girl and their best friend when they're going through a breakup, like that first big one.
I think I want to say the first big one. What was that song? The first cut is the deepest.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's it. It's like the first time your heart is broken, you're like, I can't handle this. Like, how do I keep being alive? My heart has been shattered. And
while, like, Angel became Angelus before, and that was a whole other thing, that was different because he wasn't choosing not to be with her. It was basically like he died, and then she killed him, and he did die. So
she has had every end of a relationship possible
with one person. They die, you murder them, and they break up with you. I mean, she could have and technically at one point she kind of broke up with him. That happened at some point. So yeah, they've had a tumultuous relationship, we will say.
So then we're back to April Fools.
What a terrible name for a dress shop, by the way.
I know.
I would expect to buy a dress from there and halfway through wearing it and just fall off my body and, like, turn into dust. April Fools.
So Xander sees Cordelia through the window, and he goes in to like tease her some more. And another assistant says to Cordelia, like, is this a friend or a customer? And he kind of says no, but then he realizes that Cordelia is working there. And Cordelia kind of just unloads. He's like, why are you working here? You have money, you know, because she says she's trying to buy a dress. And he's like, you have all the dresses. And she says, no, she has nothing. Everything was repossessed by the government because her dad has been committing tax fraud for 12 years.
Yep,
And
apparently hasn't paid like any taxes, she basically says,
yep.
for the past 12 years. Which is that's just stupid. Pay some taxes if you're doing that.
Well, have you watched Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Like that first episode is how I'm imagining what happened at her house. Like,
Oh my God.
government shows up and just takes everything.
Including the giant family portrait.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Xander, I'm very proud of Xander in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He does not behave at all like Cordelia thinks he will.
Yep.
Because he's
This
going
is the Zeppo growth. This is the Zeppo growth.
yeah. And also Xander understands, like, I mean, not the extent to which Cordelia is now experiencing being poor, but he understands like money being tight, and like there being problems with your family. We know that Xander has a very problematic family,
Mm-hmm.
so like he's not going to kick her while she's down. She would do that to him, but he's not going to do that to her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because she says, yeah, go and tell everyone, Cordelia got what she deserved, basically.
Yep.
And Xander just looks so sad.
But he doesn't really get a chance to respond
Mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden a hellhound has
Mm-hmm.
jumped through the window and attacks Xander. So first it focuses on Cordelia, and Xander pushes her out of the way.
Yeah.
Yay, Xander. And so then it jumps on Xander, and then it sees another guy coming out in a tux, and it starts wailing on him. And then we see a guy with a remote
Mm-hmm.
making like a weird humming noise, or the remote makes a humming noise, activates its collar, and it runs away.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've got the footage from April Fools, and they're going over it. And Cordelia comments on the fact that it has good taste in clothes,
Mm-hmm.
going after the well-dressed people. They talk about the fact that it's a hellhound, which is a foot soldier that's bred for war and trained to kill and eat brains.
And Wesley is like, Xander, why were you with Cordelia?
Mm-hmm.
And Xander covers for Cordelia in that moment. Like, says, she was, spending her dad's money and he was just there trying on his tux and they ran into each other. I think it's interesting that Wesley is the one who's like, Xander, what are you doing there?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Well, because I think he knows that they had a romantic history, and he sees them talking together on the tape, and he's already being jealous of an 18-year-old.
Yep. So Oz is the one who notices Tucker like in the corner with his remote control.
He tells him to pause. And Xander's like, it's a regular, oh wait, I can pause.
Because Cordelia had wanted Xander to zoom in, which if you have a computer today, you can do, but you certainly weren't doing that on old VHS VCR recorders. Like that wasn't happening.
Yep.
Also, he is not Willow.
Yep. So we find out the person who is controlling it is Tucker Wells, which Oz knew from chemistry class.
Mm-hmm.
And now Tucker Wells is not an important character in the world of Buffy, but his brother Andrew later makes an appearance and becomes a major Buffy component. So I think that that's interesting that, we will find out more later. But
so I could be wrong on this, but did Tucker? So Tucker is a senior this year, but he was somehow in Oz's, or is this, did Oz repeat chemistry? Seniors don't take chemistry. Seniors should have already taken that.
Depends. I took chemistry 1 and chemistry 2.
Oh, fair enough. I took,
So
oh, what the hell was it? No, it wasn't physics. Oh, wait, I didn't take a science my senior year because I was told I didn't have to. And I was like, see you later, suckers.
whereas I took all the sciences.
I suck.
Extra biology, extra chemistry, extra physics.
Nope. I did not do that. I took jewelry making instead.
I feel like I missed out on a lot of fun classes in high school. I couldn't even take chorus. I was in so I would audit chorus during my study hall because I had a study hall that twice a week was used for labs. So I had 3 days a week of study hall, and those 3 days a week I would go to chorus and just sing with the chorus. But like, it
Was that
was
all through? Was that just your senior year?
that was junior and senior year.
My goodness.
I never took chorus for a grade. I just showed up and was like, Mr. C, can I please sing with you guys? And he said, okay.
Yeah, you definitely. I took senior year. I took choir and a bunch of art classes. Yeah, but I always took choir.
Yeah. No, I wanted to, but no, I had to take all the sciences. And the only thing I managed to skip out on senior year was history classes.
I took extra history classes because I loved that. I took all of the history classes. There's their difference. I was like, what can I sign up for? What can I be in? I was fascinated by all of that. Also, it was very weird for us because our senior year, you didn't like to graduate, you only needed 3 sciences, 3 maths, and 3 histories or social studies. English, you had to have all 4 years, and then you had to have like X amount of whatever. But yeah, the only thing I didn't take 4 years of was science. They tricked me into doing math. I was not going to a school that required math. And I remember my guidance counselor saying, it's really easy, I promise. And so I took trigonometry.
Yeah, no, I was all the sciences, all the maths, and just stayed that way. But anyways, back to prom.
Yes. So Willow hacks Tucker's email and sees that he has sent an email saying, basically he's going to attack the seniors on prom night, and these hell beasts are going to murder, eat everyone's brains.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to do. Go ahead.
He no longer goes to the school though, right? Was he a previous year? He graduated the year before because he was in the yearbook.
I don't know. I mean, everyone's in the yearbook for like when they like if we pull out an old yearbook, like your senior year, everyone's going to be in there from all the grades. But I don't know because they show him having a flashback of being told no by someone that they won't go with him to prom. And it would make sense that he was in Oz's original grade, but also it would not make sense that he was like, someone last year told me they weren't going with me to the prom. They're not going to be at this prom, but I'm going to kill everyone there. Like, that just seems a little weird. But I mean, it's the hellmouth, and he's raising hell beasts to kill people. So maybe he also would have needed a year to get his paws on the hell beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that can't be easy. Or it's hellmouth. It probably is really easy. But
so at this point, Buffy is like, we are going to save prom. And she sends everyone out looking for clues. And one of the things is she starts to ask Wesley and Cordelia to go to the magic shop next to the dress shop.
Mm-hmm.
And Xander steps in and says, I can do that one.
Yep. And we'll find out later why.
Yep.
Very
and which is it And the way he does it is just it's so casual, the way he sneaks in that he's going to do this.
Mhm. And it's also important to know at this point, Willow's the only one that knows that Buffy and Angel have broken up.
Yep.
She's the only one. I mean, Oz might know, but it is not general knowledge at this point.
Yep.
But Buffy is the one that makes the plan and sends people out, and she realizes, she says to Giles, like, these things need to eat brains, so off to the meatpacking plant I go.
Because Xander makes the comment, finding out about hellhound sausages, and she's like, oh, good.
Yes. And when she's there, you know, she gets the address for where this weird kid is, and the guy like warns her too, like, he's real weird, like, I don't think you want to mess with him. And she sees Angel buying blood because of course. And they have a very awkward interaction, and Angel could have avoided that all had he just waited like 2 weeks.
Yep.
I will not stop harping on that. So Angel's surprised to see Buffy there. He offers to help. She does not want his help. She's like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
F off. And
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, then, you know, we go back to everybody being like, she's like, I've got the address, sort of thing.
Yeah. And we find that Cordelia goes into work, and her dress has been paid for. She hadn't finished paying it off, but Xander did. Yeah. And that's why he had offered to go to the magic shop. Yeah. And gosh darn it, Xander, how we love thee.
Love and hate Xander at alternate times, but this is definitely one of his, I'm a good friend.
Mm-hmm. He's growing. You know, it takes him a little bit longer than like other characters. However, unlike other characters, he also doesn't do a significant backslide.
Mm-hmm.
Damn you, Oz. So Buffy, you know, sends the once they all assemble again, Buffy commands the Scoobies to go to prom because all of them are like, no, and she's like, get your asses to the prom. Mm-hmm. And this is when Giles, as he's talking to Buffy, realizes Angel's not going with her to the prom. Yep. And he says this line of, I understand that this requires ice cream of some kind. Mm-hmm. And
Dad!
Yeah. And Buffy is just like, we will have ice cream, but at a later date. And she says, you know, slaying these demons will be a good way to get this aggression out of her system, which it really will be. But I wish they would have shown, like, at the end of the episode, like a cutscene of just her and Giles sitting there with like Ben and Jerry. It's just Chunky Monkey? Yep. It's all I asked for, Joss Whedon, and you missed out on that great opportunity. I would love to know what kind of flavor of ice cream Giles would go for.
Butter pecan.
I thought that too, but then I thought about Ripper, and I was like, maybe he has like a weird thing that he's into ice cream wise. Or a fun topping, but we will never know.
So, we then have her heading off to go after Tucker. Mm-hmm. And she finds him, she confronts him, she stops him from releasing a hound. And he says, she's like, you know, why are you doing this? And he goes, I have my reasons. And then it's this like quick flashback, and it goes, will you go to prom with me? No. And that was his reason.
One person said no. Like, it's not multiple or anything like that.
And Buffy says, you know what? Every maladjust has their reasons. It doesn't matter. And she kind of calls him an idiot. Mm-hmm. But then she finds out that he's already sent 3 of the more vicious hellhounds ahead. This was this 4th one. It was the redundancy plan. So Buffy has to rush to the high school and manages to kill the other 3, including one where a student comes out and she like warns him to get back, and she like grabs the hellhound by its feet, pulls it back, wrestles with it, breaks its neck, and then the guy's like, bathroom? And she directs him to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And he can't even get out, thank you, but she's like, you're welcome. Like, it's all good. Enjoy your night.
Also, the prom is not happening at the Bronze, it's happening in the high school gym. The one time that you would think a dance would
Mm-hmm.
be elsewhere, and
Mm-hmm.
they have it in the high school gym.
And yeah, so we like see prom happening, right?
Did you see Jonathan is there with a date? He walks in with a date.
Ooh, I didn't
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, it's a gal. He walks in before a couple people before Willow and Oz.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
she's wearing a gorgeous dress.
mhm. Although my favorite throughout this whole thing is Xander and like just being dragged around the prom by Anya, telling him all of the horrible things she's done to men. And like
Yep.
every time they pan, his face is just getting more and more grim to the
Yep.
point where when he finally sees Cordelia and Wesley, he's like, friends! Oh God, help me!
And there's this beautiful friendship exchange between Cordelia and Xander,
Mhm.
where she says thank you, and he says, it looks good on you. The dress looks good on you. And she's like, well, duh. But
Mhm.
there's this, they have finally put the barbs away.
Yes.
Like
The
they
dress is
finally,
basically a peace offering.
mm-hmm. And um, yeah, it's just, it's nice. We see Oz and Willow. Willow says you're not scared, and Oz is like, no, Buffy always comes through.
He has
And
complete faith in her. Complete
yep.
faith.
Um so, and then of course we see Wesley losing his cool over Cordelia's dress when he says that the salsa is very hot.
Yeah.
Very, very hot.
And then Giles sees and is just like, dear God. Although when Wesley comes up later to Giles, as Giles is sitting down trying to enjoy his evening. This is much later and I'm just skipping there
Yep.
now. But and he was like, Wesley's like fumbling, saying, like, do you think it would be improper if I asked Miss Chase to dance? And Giles is like, I don't care. She's 18. You're an idiot and have the emotional maturity of like a potato. So go
Blueberry
do whatever
scone.
you're gonna do and stop talking to me.
Blueberry scone.
Yes. Which
Very British.
yes. And Wesley like cheerily goes and asks her to dance. Giles has just had it with Wesley. Just
Mm-hmm.
has had it. He can't deal with him anymore. Um, so they do this thing where they announce at the prom not just who the prom king and queen are. Oh, and Buffy has showed up now, and she is in her like as like a champagne color that you would call the dress.
Or
Kind of.
like silvery. Like,
Yeah, it's nice. It's a very nice color on Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think she's one of the few people that can pull off the color.
mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a prom dress. Like some of the dresses we see on the extras aren't really prom dresses.
Mm-hmm.
But she is wearing a prom dress. Which would have been nice had Angel been there the whole time.
Yep.
Anyway, so instead of just announcing the prom king and queen, they're announcing everything, like all the superlatives. And Xander's very upset he did not get class clown.
Mm-hmm.
And I like instead of a trophy, they gave him like a balloon hat, the guy who won. Um, so then Jonathan goes up and he announces that there's a new category this year because there were a lot of write-in votes. And that is Buffy Summers here, and that she is getting the Class Protector Award because they don't talk about it a lot, but Sunnydale High isn't like other schools, and Buffy has helped or saved everyone at that school at this point, and because of her, the class of 99 has the lowest mortality rate out of any class ever to graduate from the high school.
And gosh, how depressing is that to have a mortality rate for your high school?
Mm-hmm.
Now, our high school, we would occasionally have students pass.
Yeah.
It did happen with like drunk driving accidents, or there were a couple of
Heart
students
issues.
who had health issues, like pre-existing health issues. There
Yeah.
was someone who passed away from a heart attack, someone who passed away from a brain aneurysm. Like, these were things that like they're sudden and shocking.
And it happens.
Yep.
But it was like one person per class. It wasn't,
Yeah.
and like literal, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I know by the time my class graduated, it was one person. And we almost got through, it was right before senior year that she passed. We almost got through the whole year, or the whole 4 years. But a lot, I think I remember while I was there, it was the same for every other class basically. So I can't imagine being like, we have the lowest mortality rate by a lot, because we know that students have died in that grade.
A lot of students have died in that grade.
Yes.
But to say that they have the lowest mortality rate by far shows Sunnydale's got some problems.
Yeah. I'm very curious if it still holds up after graduation day.
So there's no Sunnydale High after graduation day.
Well, no, but they still would have graduated, but maybe they lost it to a different year, because depending on how many of the students died as they were graduating.
Okay, so you're talking about with graduation day, actually. Okay.
Oh yeah. Sunnydale High is.
I thought you were talking about future years, and I'm like, there aren't future years until dawn comes.
Yeah.
But okay, so they give her the class protector trophy, or class protector award, and it's a sparkly umbrella because she protects them.
With a little plaque. It's so dang cute, and it matches her dress.
And then Anya is slow dancing with Xander, and Giles tells Wesley to go dance with Cordelia. And Buffy is talking to Giles, and she's like, he's like, good job with the hellhounds. And she's like, and I got a little toy. And she says, sometimes people can surprise you. And Giles says, yes, sometimes they can. And there's Angel in a tux. And he says, this doesn't change anything. Sorry. He says, this doesn't change anything between us, but I want you to have this one night. And they dance to Wild Horses, which, yeah, that kind of makes me emotional now when I hear that song. But, which doesn't usually, but because of this scene, it does.
So when Buffy was getting the award, they panned to, everyone in the audience. Did you notice like the difference on the looks between Giles and Wesley's face? Like Giles is just like so happy that she's being recognized for this and that she has this special moment. And you can see like Wesley running in his head, like, do I have to talk to the council about this? Like, This is definitely a breach of protocol that all these kids know something's up. Like I can just like see it like going in his head. He is not so amused.
Whatever. Wesley is very confused about his role in a lot of things regarding this school. So
yeah, honestly, I don't know how like this would not work today, because an adult that does not work at the school would not be allowed to hang around the library all day hitting on a student. That just would not happen. But we are now up to graduation day part 1 and 2.
Yep. Which is this is it. We are coming up on the end of season 3 of Buffy next week.
Yep. My favorite season. I don't know why I did that weird accent.
But yes, I'm very excited for next week's conversations. And then the following week will be a mini-sode where we're going to be handing out our own superlatives.
Oh, yes.
And then we make right on into season 4.
And season 1 of Angel.
And season 1 of Angel.
We will be dueling. Well, not dueling.
Not dueling, but duel.
Yeah, there'll be dual You'll see when we get there.
We're getting there, guys. It's okay.
Oh, before I forget, I keep meaning to say this since we got this. So now you can listen to our podcast. Not only you can watch it on YouTube, but you can listen to it on Buzzsprout. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Stitcher. You can listen to it on Google Podcast. I feel like there's something else that I am forgetting. Stitcher. There we go.
That's Stitcher.
Did I?
Stitcher
There's
again.
another one. There's another service you can, iHeartRadio maybe? There's another one.
I am no help, dear viewers or listeners. Sabrina is the one that is handling all of the distribution. I just show up with snark. So, yes, she has been the driving force behind all of this. And
well, I mean, you do act as a spell corrector when I'm like, oh crap, doing my 9 to 5. I need to get this summary out.
Yeah, she posts on our Facebook page, and I go back and I'm like, I just edited some things.
Mm-hmm.
It's the English editor in me has to make things, correct, add the appropriate commas,
and I won't lie, I'm comfortable just taking and posting stuff because I know you're going to fix it. And that's how our relationship works.
Yep. Everyone, thank you for just Jossin with us.
Yes, and we're going to go into the tailspin of season 3 next week.
Yep. See you in the hellmouth.